Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Raft series. Today we're going to deal with some unfinished business on this island. So strap yourself in, pop on your favourite pair of swim fins and yeah, get ready for some serious progress. Now, this ended up being a bit of a longer session than I originally intended, so this will have a fair amount of sped up bits. Again, you're not really missing a lot, it's more just to show the progress. On this island, we still have a chest we need to grab. We've still got some, naughty and nasty things out there that we'll need to deal with. And other than a little bit more organising, we're going to get stuck into it. Now, we did smelt a bit of seaweed. When you smelt seaweed, you get vine goo. And the vine goo, I guess you could say it's a little bit like a malleable plastic type thing in the context of this game. So it's unlocked a bunch of things like water bottles and all that other good stuff. We don't have enough vine goo at the moment, but between smelting metal, we're going to see if we can create a bit more vine goo, because there is a lot of very useful things that we can make from it. One of the first things we're going to aim to make out of it, as much as I'd love to make a empty bottle, we're a bit low on plastic. So instead, what we're going to be doing is making ourselves some swim fins so we can get around a little bit quicker and maybe access some of the resources that are a lot deeper in the ocean, and it's just not practical to dive for them without the swim fins. It's worth noting at this moment that the smelter does go through a fair bit of wood. So if you're looking to smelt up, 10 ingots of copper or iron or whatever, you're probably going to be going through double, maybe slightly more than double that in wood. And if you're not drifting and you don't have some trees you can chop down, you might find yourself running low on, wood for other things in addition to keeping your smelter going. So just be a bit mindful of that when you get a bit carried away making metal from, ore. Now here I'm just doing a little bit of research into what sort of a weapon upgrade I can get myself into. The spear is, well, it's like the bare minimum. It's literally better than nothing, but that's not saying a lot. So we're looking at initially the metal spear, and then we had a bit of a look at the bow, but the bow predictably wants a lot of resources. Now, it is worth it. Don't get me wrong, the bow is extremely useful, but with the available materials, I'm not going to be able to make one just yet. So instead, we are now going to make ourselves, or in fact we have made ourselves, a metal spear. Now, the big benefit, as you're going to see during the course of this episode, with the metal spear, is it hits a lot harder. The shark, you've normally got to stab the shark, 3 or 4 times sometimes to discourage it from chewing on the raft. The metal spear, it's like twice, and the shark's out of there. So now we're just going to take our metal spear out for a drive here. And yeah, I think I've found a target here for our weapons test. Let's see how successful it is. Now, there are a lot of different ways of fighting a boar. The one that I tend to use when I'm a bit rusty, which, no surprises here, I am very rusty, is I tend to engage them very close to the water like this, because they will not follow you into the water. If you go into deep water, they'll just shake their head and run off. And when they charge you, they will stop short of going into the actual water. So you can sort of create openings to, stab them a couple of times without them necessarily stabbing you in return. But as you can see, my coordination needs a little bit of work. No surprises there. But we did actually get the result. And when you loot the boar, in addition to getting some raw meat and some leather, both of which will be quite important, you also get a head. Now, if you're planning on being on an island for a long time, like chopping trees and stuff like that, and the boar is in an irritating spot, I think I would go with the advice previously advised that you loot everything except the head, and leave the head on the body so that it extends the time before that pig respawns. However, I'm probably better than halfway done with this island at this stage, and the respawn timer for the pig is actually quite long anyway, so I didn't see much harm in looting the head at this stage. But if you're at all concerned and you want to get the maximum time without, the pig trying to impose itself upon you, then leave the head on the body. You don't actually get anything from looting the head, and I'm not even sure it actually does anything for you when you wear it. It's more just a decorative item. I think that's in there just so that you can mount it on on the wall as a trophy. So anyway, like a very good outcome for our weapons test. So we're back to chopping as many trees down as we can to get another stockpile of fruit, wood and palm leaves before we start diving down to try and get a little bit more metal. Yeah, anytime you get anything new, always see if you can research it, because that's how you're going to unlock all of the recipes. Generally speaking, raw foods usually don't unlock anything. It always just shows up as already researched. But raw materials like leather and scrap metal and things like that, yep, research the hell out of those, because they will inevitably unlock some new tech. But with that now done, we are working on making our flippers, or swim fins, or whatever it is you would like to call them. The only shortfall there looks like we just need 3 more vine goo. So we've got the smelter working there to try and get us some more. In the meantime, I had a bit of a look for some other things to see what I could do to improve the raft. Yeah, not really able to do very much at this stage. I need to get a lot more metal smelted, and you'll see that over this episode, and in fact the next episode. We're going to be smelting metal for a while to try and address not just our immediate needs, but our ongoing improvements as well. So this is, I guess, like the advice I've given in Valheim, and I'm sure it's applicable in many other games. If you think you've got enough metal, you probably don't. All right, it looks like our, I guess you could say, clock is running in terms of how much longer we can stay on this island, because we're basically out of plastic. And anytime the raft takes damage, it takes wood and plastic to repair. Wood, not really a problem at this stage. There's still a few more trees I can chop down, and I haven't been up the top of the hill yet to get the chest. So wood, not a big problem. Plastic, though, yeah, it does not grow on trees. We need to be drifting to get a good supply of plastic, and consequently, that's that's the thing that's going to dictate when we leave the island. So I've gone from we can be here for a while and obtain everything we possibly can from the island mode into, all right, the timer has started. I need to focus just on the bare minimum in terms of what I want to get out of this island before our lack of plastic becomes an issue. So our first thing that I want is more metal. And this is something that, as I said, you can never have too much of. And consequently, we grabbed our fins and we're going to go out and gather as much metal as we can. And you can see now that we've, mind you, I sped the footage up a bit, so it's a bit of a false representation there. But trust me, you do swim a bit faster with the fins on. And given the metal tends to be a bit deeper, it's good to wear them to get the metal. Now, the other thing, at the moment, we're using our old, hook We are going to make a scrap hook at some stage once we've worn this one out. Now, the scrap metal hook, just like the spear, it will take less swings to loot stuff off the bottom. And had I had a little bit more... Actually, I can't remember if it needs plastic, but that could have been something I should have made before I came out. But given I already had a hook, I thought, whatever. I'll just use that to come out and gather some more bits and pieces. We're also definitely wanting clay and sand. I know the raft is a bit small at the moment, but at some point I am going to want more than one smelter. And of course, we already know we're going to need 6 of those clay blocks in order to put another smelter down. That, and for other reasons, we actually need clay a bit later on. So having an adequate supply of it is always a good move. Now, something which I'd completely forgotten, because I recorded this episode and the next fairly close together, and there was something that I'd completely and utterly forgotten about. We will get some, I think it's next episode, and we're able to research it, but I'd completely forgotten that it was something that I should be making now, because it does unlock quite a lot of very good tech. And that is glass. And predictably, I believe it is made by smelting sand, because that kind of makes sense with how you make glass in reality. So I haven't done that yet, and I know that I should be doing that ASAP, because it does unlock some very good things. So stay tuned on that one. We are looking at lots and lots of fish here, and it's in the dark, so we can't exactly use shadows very effectively to work out where the pufferfish is. We can, however, use movement. And sure enough, there he is. Now, when he starts blowing up, there's a little bit of a delay, and if you're looking at him, you can see him start to explode, and it gives you a chance to get away without being poisoned. So if you are choosing to deal with your pufferfish that way, that's probably the best way, certainly in terms of not getting you killed. Now, whenever there's a pufferfish, they are always guarding something. And if you kill one, remember to have a look around for a chest. Almost 100% of the time, you'll find one somewhere nearby. Now, there's a lot of other resources around here, but as I said, we are on the clock a little bit, and I'm not really going to be able to hang around here and collect all of it. We're just going to focus on getting sand and getting metal, and if we happen to be near something else that's useful, we'll grab that as well. Now, you'll see me putting on and taking off the swim fins. It's because they've got durability, and honestly, they do wear out fairly quickly. So when I'm just pottering around on the surface or in shallow water, it's kind of pointless wearing them, because you're going to wear them out faster than you're going to have the resources to replace them. So I tend to save them for when I need to dive deeper or I need to dive for a longer time. And you definitely don't need to do either of those things when you're this close to the surface. So yeah, just a public service announcement there on the durability of the swim fins. Yeah, they're not that impressive. Alright, and we didn't think to bring a spare hook with us because that one actually had a fair bit of durability on it before we started our run. We're just having a quick look around just to see if there's any substantial amount of metal still left to loot. Doesn't look like there is, so it's time to head back to the raft and work out what our next move will be. Alright, our next piece of unfinished business is to have ourselves a shovel and go and revisit that cave. So that is exactly what we've just made, and we're now going to make sure we're not carrying very much, and then we're going to head back to the cave to dig up the, well, I would say fat loot, but we'll dig up what there is to dig up out of those dirt spots. Except, that's a bit of a fake out. I know, I'm a bit of a cruel sod sometimes. No, we're instead just going to watch some steaks, you know, quietly grilling away on our small grill here as I wrap up this episode. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to consider subscribing if you have not already done so. If you've been enjoying my videos, stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more to follow. But until next time, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching. Go away, you irritating shark. And have yourself an absolutely fantastic day.